Hello, welcome everyone to join today's space event. And before we officially start session, now I would like to invite our speakers to unmute yourself and then let's test our mic and connections. How about starting from Zeus? Would you like to check your mic connections right now? You can unmute
Yeah,
yourself.
just mic test.
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. That works perfectly. And I also see we have Taylor over here. Would you also like to unmute yourself? I believe you're behind the demos, right?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Check.
That's perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. And also welcome Apollo. This is our second time to meet each other at a space event, right? Would you also like to unmute yourself?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, that's amazing. Thank you so
Perfect.
much. And I also sent message to KY's team. Yes, adding you as a speaker as well. And let's wait for KY to test his mic. Then we can almost officially to start our session. GNKY, would you like to check your mic connection? Thank you.
Hello, I'm KY from QB Labs.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing. And it's about time. Well, we are about 1 minute earlier, and I believe a lot of friends can't wait to start the session because we are talking about the most trending topic right now, right? Ethereum and Bitcoins. Well, I know Web3, the price might be bumpy sometimes, but overall, the trend is definitely surging right now, right? So today we're going to talk about is CEX being centralized exchanges or DEX, decentralized exchanges, convergence, the future of trading. This is definitely a very interesting topic. And I see that we got a lot of committee members from over different project teams, right? So I would like to actually invite each of our speakers to introduce yourself and introducing your project to our audience over here. Zeus, would you like to start from your side by introducing your role at AI Liquid to our audience? Thank you.
100%. I could start first right now, and later would like to give the other kind of speakers a chance to start first as well. So Zeus Chan, Singaporean Canadian, head of global strategy for AI Liquid. At AI Liquid, we are up to 1000x leverage perp stacks. We use AI specifically for audible matching, specifically for risk control, both at the user level as well as at the risk management level for the exchange.
Amazing, and welcome Zeus to, I should say, sponsoring today's AMA session, right? The AI Liquid team. Thank you so much for doing that. And next, we would like to, well, let's follow our AMA banners order over here so everyone know when it's your turn to speak. Let's welcome Taylor, the head of committee from DevOps, to introduce yourself and your project to us. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me today. Happy to be here. It's been a while since I've been on space with you, Moonlight. I've been on so many spaces with you over the last 2 years, but it's been a while, so it's nice to be back. But yeah, I'm currently head of community at DAppOS. What we are is we are a Web3 AI operating system, and we conduct in-depth research and we craft customized solutions, all while executing them with unparalleled efficiency, in turn fulfilling user intent, right? So we've been at the forefront of intent centric for over the last 2 years. We just announced our newest V3, which will focus and create a decentralized AI co-pilot, sort of experience where users can express their needs, ask questions based on the market status or specific tasks that you want DAppOS to carry out for you, with any basic trade basically, and then we're able to fulfill that, the user's intentions with a one-click solution. So a lot of exciting stuff happening for us with our V3, and excited to get into the topic today because I guess not only exciting stuff happening over at DAppOS, but just in the market in general. It feels cool to be, in this bull run per se. If we could call it a bull run, we'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Taylor, for representing DAppOS and joining us today. Next, let's invite Mr. Apollo, the co-founder and CEO at Athena, to introduce yourself and introducing the project to our audience. I also see, wow, a lot of our Athena team is over here as well. And wow, that's just amazing. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, all our community attended this space, excited more. Yeah, and I'm heading market Athena, which is BNB's native liquid player, so called as a DEX or a 3-3 DEX. So, kind of DEX that offer different functionalities, not just swapping. And I'm here to discuss more about the CEX and DEX conversions. As we are invested by YZ Labs, we are trying to push on that front as well. And also, since we are still talking about hyperliquid today and perps, we do offer that feature as well. And excited to discuss more. Thanks for inviting me.
Nice. Thank you so much, Apollo, for the introduction. And we have a new friend, KY, is a founder of Qubit DEX, and we would like to invite you to introduce yourself and your product or your platform to us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So I'm the CEO of the QB Labs. So our first product will be the QB DEX with our own chain. So we are just like Hyperliquid. We will create our own chain and with our DEX as well. So our first product will be perpetual, but in the future, we will integrate a lot of low risk product to allow our user to earn the yield with low risk. So no matter your risk appetite, for example, you can accept a higher risk, you can enjoy our perpetual products. If your risk appetite is relatively low, so you can enjoy our yield generation product. So we want to integrate more products and to significantly increase the brand value of our DEX. And we will create some AI tool to create the flywheel, to create the real flywheel of the trading platform as well. And at the same time, we will use the zero knowledge proof technology to increase the efficiency of the blockchain. For example, right now, a lot of chain claim that their block generation time is less than 500 milliseconds, but it is nearly impossible because the communication between the validator, for example, once you ping another computer, the back and forth time will span you 300 milliseconds. So so we will use the zero knowledge proof technology to increase the efficiency of the blockchain, to increase the transaction per second of our own blockchain, to make our own DEX to become real decentralized for all the users. Thank you.
Wow, that is certainly great. And actually, everyone's introduction closely matching today's topic over here, right? We're going to talk about centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges and the convergence of them. And this is so exciting. I wanted to encourage all of our speakers to bring your project's X handle to join the stage. I already sent invitations to AI Liquid and Depot is already on the stage. And I would like to also encourage Lena and the Cubidex official X handle to join the stage as well. Feel free to do so our audience can see them and to give them a follow as well. So let's go to our very first discussion topic over here. As we know, recently very, very popular platform, which, well, I hope that we could also invite them to join our image session next time, right? Hyperliquid. They definitely kind of like reshape, well, perceptions of DEX, right? Speed and liquidity. We would like to ask our speakers, you're all amazing Web3 builders and you have built your own product, your project, your ecosystem. So from your observation, what tangible impact has it had on the CEX and DEX market landscape? And what do you see as the driving forces behind this current trend of CEX DEX convergence? Who would like to go first? How about let's do kind of like a popcorn style. Whoever wanted to share your thoughts, feel free to just unmute your mic and share your opinion with us. KY, I see you.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I can share my point of view. So I would say one of the driving force would be the hype of the community with the expectation of the airdrop of the early adopter. It is definitely the key. So when you're using the centralized exchange, you need to KYC, you need to do the fiat on ramp, and you know, a lot of top centralized exchange, the airdrop of the token campaign is actually too competitive. So for example, we take Binance Offer as an example. You know, ultimately the competition is fierce, and the user must take a lot of risk to increase the trading volume, to do some transaction they don't actually need, right? So I think the expectation of the airdrop, in terms of the expectation of the airdrop, we all know that, you know, Coinbase valuation is more than 100 billion US dollar last month. You know, the trading platform, no matter decentralized exchange or centralized exchange, are money making business, just like casino industry, right? So anyone who had experiences of running a successful casino and start up a new casino in different place, and don't make some serious mistake, the new casino can definitely make money. So I think the expectation of the airdrop and the high valuation of the no matter centralized exchange or decentralized exchange, and the valuation of the whole industry will be the driving force, will be the key driving force. Yeah. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, KY, for sharing your observation with us. And who would like to go next? You guys are all experts right
Um,
here. Yes, Taylor,
yeah,
represent
I'd be happy to
Dallas.
jump in. I think the thing that really stands out to me to the most with the project and what they do is kind of just proving how a new model works, right? They kind of just came in like, we're going to do it this way. We're going to, not so rely heavily on marketing. We're going to have lean operations. We're going to build this different system, and it's just going to work, right? So obviously, from what I know, I don't know exactly their marketing budget, but from what I know, from what I research, is very minimal, right? So if a project is able to speak for themselves without, having to totally invest in the marketing, that's not an easy feat. So I think a lot of times there's a bunch of money pumped into marketing, especially like before, the token launch, right? So being able to grow the way that they have by just simply, relying on the product's performance is really big. So I think ups to them on that. And obviously there's some other things, like the on-chain financial or operating system they run, the own level one developer tools they have. It's all really impressive. So it's definitely a standout project. And I think second part of your question, obviously, like the CEX, DEX convergence. It's kind of like one of those things where it's hot and cold, night and day, red and red and blue. It's always been this thing where people look at it as like it's either this or that. It's like you have to choose one or the other. I remember the first time when I jumped into Web3, it was kind of like, oh, are you more on the decentralized side, or are you centralized side, right? It's kind of was one that this thing is like hot and cold. You had to almost pick one, but I think that's changed a lot, right? And I think we're seeing different areas where that has changed, where whether transparency and trust, we're seeing projects become fully on chain. We're seeing the tokenomics, the community kind of coming together. So I think a lot of times decentralized, the community is really strong. Centralized kind of has its opening community. But as we see more and more products like pushing the limits, like Hyperliquid, right? We do see a lot of these, synergies come together. So yeah, that's kind of just my idea. I think the new model that they were able to put out, the minimal marketing, just relying heavily on the product is, big plus for them.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Taylor. And next, yes, we have Polo and Zeus. Who would like to go first? Yes, I see Zeus unmute.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely agree with the point just now, right? Previously, there was more of a divergence between CEXs and DEXs. So a very simple kind of heuristic in the past is that, hey, if you're a professional degen, I know it sounds oxymoronic, but yes, if you're a professional degen, you value yields, you have more conserved privacy, use DEXs, right? And then if you're kind of smaller first-time user where you value ease of use versus privacy, then CEXs might provide an easier kind of interface. I guess today's topic, right, when we talk about convergence, we're talking about, hey, DEXs have improved in terms of speed, in terms of user experience, so much. Of course, there's still room for improvement, but so much that even first-time users might feel comfortable using DEXs as well. So DEXs have an increasing market share. DEXs are here to stay and also serve the mass market. and beyond kind of the mass retail market, right? We are also seeing a lot of institutional liquidity coming in. We're talking about hedge funds that usually traditionally are more comfortable with CEXs now coming into the DEX space as well. So we definitely see a convergence where there was a previous divergence in terms of user groups and user concerns. And a few things that's more common when we think about DEXs compared to CEXs, right? Things like interest-free loans, for example, that we have at AI Liquid. There are other platforms that have interest-free loans as well, but definitely more common on DEXs, native loan staking, 1000x leverage. Again, that's what we have at AI Liquid, very often not available on CEXs. So it's combined ecosystem approach, again, to go back into a more kind of native DeFi sense, right? Where you can trade, where you can land, where you can stake in a vault, and we're improving on speed and slippage.
Nice. Thank you so much. This is definitely an expert on this topic. And Apollo, would you like to also share your observations regarding the topic? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think, yeah, a lot of good points have already been mentioned. There's been a lot of different factors kind of driving this trend. What we have seen is that the on-chain experience has improved quite a lot. Like, for example, BNB chain is now 10x cheaper than it used to be 2 years ago, or even 1 year ago. So that has driven a lot of more users and activity on chain. So that's definitely one factor that has affected it. Then, of course, we saw Hyperliquid's rise, and then all of these different entities woke up to the fact that there are so much interest to do stuff on chain, and that kind of changed gears in a way. CEXs started to look at what can we do on chain, what can we do to bring these two worlds kind of closer together. And for example, Binance now is trying to integrate more and more on-chain assets so that their traders can actually trade those without leaving the centralized exchange. And then Coinbase, of course, followed up, and that was big news on that side of things. So we see this centralized exchanges also supporting their own ecosystems more while offering their own users more opportunities. And that often comes from on-chain, because when you're at a CEX, the opportunities are more limited. There's simple earn programs and stuff, but doing something more degen usually comes from on-chain. And also those opportunities on-chain are like earlier opportunities. So for example, projects that are not yet listed on centralized exchanges, they may offer a little bit more upside, traditionally at least, than the ones that are already trading on CEXs. So that's something that, of course, interests users, and we're seeing more and more of these worlds blending now together as a result of that.
That's right. And I also see a lot of Bena's community members raise your hands, want to join the discussion. Friends, no worries. We definitely will save some time for our audience, our community members, to come up to the stage and ask your questions. Next, let's go to another topic. Well, of course, according to our observation, right? Hyperliquid is kind of, new platform, right, has proven that a DEX can deliver a matching experience close to that of our CEX or centralized exchanges, right? However, what shortcomings does it still have in terms of capital efficiency and product diversity, especially for those trying to copy their success? What should they be mindful of, or what lessons can we take from Hyperliquid rapid rise? Well, if we wanted to learn from them, right? Any lessons that we have learned from Hyperliquid? Any speakers would like to share your views or your opinions? Feel free to unmute yourself. Yeah, we don't really need to follow any orders, or you can just share how your team is trying to make your platform a better one. Okay, feel free to share that with us.
I'll jump in this one first.
Let's go.
I think I kind of look at this as like a double-edged sword. I'm going to say something, and I think my other opinion will contradict it. But I think a lot of times projects will limit to what they're best at, right? So for example, with Hyperliquid, right, perpetual futures or spot trading, they've already perfected that to the sense of where they brought a lot of users on, right? They're doing things, we're talking about them right now just because of the success that they've had, right? But I think they've also not, dove into other areas, whether option lending. There's a lot of things that they can, I'm sure they've got a great team that can figure out how to, bring this into the ecosystem that they're running. Um, so I think it's just more still of a developing ecosystem. It depends on what you want to look at specifically. But I think the other side, like I said, this is double-edged sword. You can also look at it as a positive, right? If your project is already doing one thing with great success, you don't necessarily need to venture into more areas, right? Because then once you start to venture into more areas that maybe your team is not, built for, right? It's not your team's strength. Chances are that it could be forced, or it's not. It's very unorganic, right? Which could lead to unwanted or bad results. So I think a lot of times the community is backing you specifically for. A lot of people like join a project. They come to a project. They join a community because they like the services you're offering. They like the community that you're building. So if you're doing that to the best ability you can. Sometimes if you want to take leaps into other areas, it's not always the best idea. But I think kind of, to summarize that, I think it's good to venture into other areas. I think what they're doing already is amazing. We'll see if they want to venture into other areas because they have a strong team. But at the same time, if you're already doing something at that success, just keep it up. So
That's right. Thank you so much. And also, Taylor, I believe, yeah, a lot of community members are also looking forward to Japa's next steps, right? Maybe later we can talk about that. Thank you for sharing your views on this. And who would like to share your ideas regarding how can we learn from Hyperliquid's success story? Thank you. All of our speakers are so polite. Let's do it. Let's just unmute. Anyone?
Yes.
KY.
Yeah, I totally agree with Taylor because we are exactly the team want to replicate the success of the Hyperliquid. So yeah, so maybe I would talk more about it. So the lessons, what can we what we can do. So I think find the product market fit with your existing community would be the first step, would be the most important first step. So take our community as an example. We have a core community team, and we will we will use the Twitter space to discuss with them the detail and the progress of our projects at least every month. So we will listen to their advice. For example, why we use zero knowledge proof to improve the efficiency of the blockchain. It is exactly we discuss with our core community, and after that we decide we have to do this. Yeah, and of course the expectation of the airdrop I just mentioned in previous question would be another X factor as well. A lot of our existing community, they just miss the chance of the airdrop of Hyperliquid. So they come to our community, and after they saw the experiences of our co-founding teams, they believe us because we are exactly the co-founding team who had experiences of running a successful centralized exchange several years ago. So yeah, so I think that would be the key as well. They miss the chance of the airdrop of the Hyperliquid, and they believe our funding team can create another decentralized exchange, successfully because we have the past experiences. So I think the most important thing is the experiences of your funding teams, and another important thing will be find out the product market fit with your existing community, and then we can try to improve the function of our apps, and then complete the ecosystem to create flywheel of our decentralized application. Yeah, I think that's my answer. Thank you.
Nice. And also congratulations, right? People who miss the opportunity to get airdrop from Hyperliquid will go to your platform, which is so cool. Let's hear from Zeus. What do you learn from Hyperliquid's success story? Thank you.
Thank you. Really like KY's point on culture, right, as well as functionalities. Let me touch on culture first. All of us are big fans, right, of the culture. I was just visiting Hyperbill at GM Vietnam, the sense of anticipation, excitement, optimism is very palpable. I think as a DEX, right, there's a lot to learn from there. Like very often, like as builders, like whichever kind of city or country you're from, you're very focused on building and very focused on almost like an echo chamber, right, of what kind of perceived users would like. Maybe they like more yields. Maybe if we kind of tweak the trading fees, it'd be good. But that there's a lot more when building a culture, right? So I also like apart from the huge airdrops, right, that we all know about, I also like the sense of mystery as well. So the founding team, until recently, it's kind of mysterious, right? People are thinking like, okay, who built these? Who's the CEO? Of course, Jeff has come out and is going to come out in person at Korean Blockchain Week, attesting to the importance of the Korean market for DEXs especially. And he's going to be a speaker at many in-person events, so people get to see him, and then attest to the fact that he came from a traditional kind of finance background, plus coming from Harvard. So I really like this momentum. Sure, great background, keep it under wraps, slowly come out. It's a surprise element, and then airdrops, big surprise element. Really kind of big community fan base, so it's kind of self-fueling. The foundation doesn't need to keep pouring money in order to have hackathons. Like I built, for example, just had their own hackathons, just on top of the hackathon that will be the first in-person one in Korea, right? As mentioned. So I think there's a lot that we can learn from in terms of how to build culture. And I think it's not like a standard playbook, right? The whole point is not to have standard playbook on culture. So I think in Asia, especially, a lot of projects are like, okay, I want to grow my users, I want to grow my community. This is a standard playbook, right? With your X count, get some kind of users there, have KOLs, work the Telegram group. I think if you choose standard things, that's the saying, right? It would be quite insane to expect out of the ordinary or extraordinary results. So I think we all have to be a little bit more creative, especially if you're targeting DGen. And in the kind of user-based growth trajectory, right, that we always have in business school, there's always a first adopters. That's where the degens come in, right? And then you get more mainstream people, and you get the laggards, the people who follow behind. It's kind of the growth, let's say, for big tech apps, right? Whether it's like Facebook, WhatsApp, the growth trajectory is generally like that. So I think creativity serves the first two market segments as well. How are you going to get your first users, and also how are you going to bring the mainstream users in? And to my last point, right? Mainstream users also include institutions, right? And I think institutions are also not immune to hype. When they see such liquidity on your exchange, it is very exciting. Firstly, it allows them to focus from amidst the noise, and also it allows them to have a conversation, perhaps an institutional agreement with the DEX in order to have better pricing, even better market making involved, right? So again, kind of big point on culture.
Nice. Thank you so much, Zeus, for analyzing a lot of different areas, right? From your own observations and sharing with us. Thank you. Next, we would like to hear from Apollo, especially Vena is quite a mature platform, right? Compared to our other speakers' project over here. Would you like to share any lessons that you have learned from Hyperliquid success? Thank you.
Yes. And thank you so much for the other answers so far. Like I love what you guys are saying, and all true. I agree with everything. I think the most successful point of Hyperliquid was the airdrop program. I mean, it's there's no question about it. It was a brilliant way to bootstrap initial liquidity and the community and the hype and the marketing. Like it seemed like it came out of nowhere, and suddenly it was one of the biggest platforms out there. And obviously that was a huge part of it. But when I started digging deeper into Hyperliquid last year, I noticed that a lot of users are trading there because the user experience is just so good, and it was so far ahead of the competitors. So there were like GMX and other platforms before then, but Hyperliquid was just so much better that all of my friends who were trading perps were trading on Hyperliquid. And the airdrop was one of the reasons, but I think the main reason was just the superior user experience. Of course, they could have been trading on CEXs as well, but it seems like they're really sticky with Hyperliquid. So there seems to have been a gap in the market, and they just filled it. And it's interesting to see how it now develops. I mean, a lot of users are still trading there. The ecosystem is growing every single day. There are more tokens launching on Hyperliquid, more builders building on a Hyperliquid. So I just have to applaud all of the work that they have done. Of course, I personally have some concerns with regards to the decentralization, but you know, you have to make some compromises when you're building a platform like that. And I think they have made a lot of right choices and decisions to make it a success. A lot to learn from.
Thank you so much, Apollo. And of course, yeah, I actually also share I should say the journey, right? The plan to other friends as well, right? Observing your team to grow the project, the platform, and to be invested by YZI Labs or Binance Labs, right? Before they change the name and then successfully being listed to top exchanges. Quite a journey, right? We also would like to learn from your team as well. Thank you so much. Next, let's go to our third discussion topics over here. So ultimately, is the true value of a trading platform determined by the scale of its liquidity, the depth of its derivatives market, or the completeness of its ecosystem loop? What do you think? What would be, well, the kind of like the key points, right? To what are the true value of a trading platform? Who would like to share your views first for this question? Thank you. KY, let's go.
Yes, I can share some views. I think Zeus and Apollo also mentioned about the importance of the liquidity and user experiences in previous question. I think that's the core competence of course, and our team do some deeper investigation how Hyperliquid can provide the great liquidity. I think the core competence behind the liquidity would be how to do the market making skillfully. Yeah, I think that's the key. Yeah, for example, I feel that they have some idle funds and can serve as a buffer, and so you can hedge the risk of the open interest of the users open interest on your decentralized exchange. I think that will be the key. They do the market making skillfully. For example, I take one thing as an example. You can see a lot of media just mentioned about some addresses on the Hyperliquid, lose 100 million US dollar a day, and on another day earns 100 million US dollar or 10 million US dollar or 50 million US dollar. So I feel that they hedge their risk in some way already. So we don't know all the detail, but actually I feel that they just do the market making skillfully. So we can see a lot of, if we track a lot of address on Hyperliquid, we will see a lot of profit and loss every day, and which is an extremely big number. But I feel that they are just hedging their risk to other, no matter decentralized exchange or to other liquidity aggregator, or even on some other centralized exchange. So I think the core competence is that how to do the market making skillfully. So in QB Labs, so one of our co-founder, they do the market making for the top centralized exchange, even before 5 years ago. So for QB DEX, we will do that. We will do the market making skillfully, and we will try to provide the best liquidity to our user. So yeah, so I think that's the core competence, of the Hyperliquid. Yeah.
Got it.
And
Thank you so much.
and of course, after that, we can complete the ecosystem and create a flywheel. But I think the core competence would be the market making skill. Yeah. Thank you.
Market making skills definitely really important. How about other part? What is the true value of a trading platform? What do you think? I see Taylor on mute. Let's go.
Yeah, I love what Kara just said about market making. It's really important, and specifically is touch on liquidity, like what's mentioned in the question. But I think not specifically for Hyperliquid, but for like any project, any trading platform, right? You got to look at like the life cycle, right? Obviously, we all wish that our projects can last for 100 years, right? That's the goal of building a business, right? But I think you got to look at, short term, let's say midterm, long term, you got to look at these different areas and where you need each specific factor. For example, like when we look at liquidity, right? This is definitely more of a short term success. That's kind of like liquidity in this area in the short term is king. You want to bring in the users, you want to attract those users, you want to provide great liquidity for the users. And then when you kind of swing it back towards like a long term, being able to survive in the long run, whether it's, bear, bull market, you got to provide this complete ecosystem for your users, right? They've got to be able to, it's kind of like being stuck in the Apple ecosystem, right? Once you become an iPhone user, you're like, okay, I've got to get a Mac because there's all these synergies between them. Oh, and then look at my iPad can do this as well. And then, oh, let me have the Apple Watch, right? So it's just like, crypto can kind of, in sense, feel like the Apple ecosystem if you really like a project for certain reasons, right? And I think if you can build a complete ecosystem, you're able to keep the user all within one interface, whether that's through like intent, being an intent-centric project, account abstraction, all of these different things that can keep you in one interface without having to jump ship to other areas, to other projects. I think that's how you build a complete ecosystem, and that's how you can, keep users or, for a long-term survival for the project specifically. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Yes, I remember that during the, I believe last year, right? We talk a lot about intent-centric and yeah, those topic. And thank you so much, Taylor, for bringing those up. And Zeus, what do you think? What is the true value of a trading platform? Thank you.
Yeah, Taylor, I like your point on ecosystem. I think a lot of what this question is hinting at, right? True value might be the TVL that we're all looking at, total value locked, right? So having the products within different products that is DeFi wise within the same ecosystem actually helps that. So say for example, right, if you have some profits from trading, and not everyone is a degen every single day, right? Maybe I don't want to leverage every single trade. Maybe sometimes I want to stake and earn some yields, and maybe I just want to lend it out to other traders out there. It's important to have a vault structure, and from there your TVL increases from an exchange level and from a user kind of experience level, and say, hey, I think about your DEX. Even beyond when I have the riskiest of appetites or riskiest of moods, right? So that's within, like, say, a single user. And also to cater to different types of users as well. Maybe there are users that are just attracted by the yields themselves, just because they're so many times higher than traditional, let's say, bonds or money markets, right? So having a yield structure, like AI liquids that actually bear interest or yields every single day, is something attractive for them, and just might be the first step in terms of moving towards DeFi and increasing back to an exchange level, the overall TVL. So a few other things as well, right? If you're looking at kind of functionalities, providing value to our customers and users. So order book matching is an important KPI in the past, right? As well as liquidity. And they go hand in hand. The more liquidity that you have, the better your order book matching. It results in less slippage, a better ease of use. So what we do use to address that at its core is we use AI. So coming from a TradFi background, a lot of us kind of use AI to execute, right, rather than strategy. So we believe that, okay, sure, it might not be as fast as computers, but we're kind of smarter. But in this AI era, we, in fact, might not be faster and smarter at the same time, right? Because you can combine the experience of a lot of different market makers and traders, each with 20, 30 years of experience, which even a stellar team cannot match. So that's kind of the core of our philosophy when we want to reduce or have the best prices for our traders on an exchange, helping in execution as well as strategic planning.
Got it. Thank you so much, Zeus. Wow. I have to say, like today, well, we have really heard a lot of great points from others, right? And let's also hear from Apollo, since I believe, yeah, Dana is already, well, has kind of like been through all of the steps, right? All the stages. Would you like to let us know what do you think is the true value of a trading platform? Thank you.
Yeah, I love this question, and I love the Apple comparison from DepOS, and I feel like BNB chain community has already kind of become like that. You know, a lot of BNB maxis out there. I don't know if you're one of them, but I definitely am myself. So I don't even venture to other ecosystems much these days because there's just so much already within our ecosystem, and that's our goal too. You know, we have had this motto of together we rise and divided we fall, and that's the core principle of the BE33 model that we're using for our DEX as well. So builders, what it means is builders building around Thena, you know, they're plugging into our platform, modular platform to offer users, you know, more options. For example, our Perps platform comes from Simio and Orbs collaboration. So they're bringing, you know, the best of DeFi on that front to our platform and users, so our users never have to leave Thena. And that's how kind of we have, you know, done with different kinds of narratives, not just on the trading side, but on the liquidity side as well. And now we're heading towards building like a DeFi and AI super app platform with Venus Protocol and others to kind of bring even more of these DeFi functionalities together into a single platform. And I think, yeah, building a comprehensive ecosystem is really important for a decentralized app. You know, if you're alone, you can only do so much. Your team is only specialized in one thing. And if that narrative dies, or if, you know, like you said, like somebody said earlier, you know, that life cycle can be pretty short. But if you have a more comprehensive ecosystem built around the product, then it's really hard to kind of fall into that trap. So I think that's my thoughts on it.
Well noted. Thank you so much, Apollo. And of course, if we look at the perspective, right, of users' lifetime value, what kind of platform can retain the important users even through bull and bear market cycles? Right? Right now, even though we know it's for sure a bull run right now, right? But what if, right? It goes to bear market in a few months, right? How do we retain our important users to then continue to use our platform? Especially, I would say post TGE, right? How should we do that? We would like to hear from our speakers' views as well. Thank you. Who would like to go first? Everyone's so polite. Taylor, let's go.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I think I kind of accidentally answered this question a little bit on the last one, but just to review kind of what I said, obviously you want to keep the users in your ecosystem, and then you got to keep them for long term, right? Because you know, if the longer you have a user, you know, the more loyal they are to you, the better you're going to be as a project. But you always have to be offering them something new, or you always have to give them reasons to stay, right? Because I think everyone's in Web3 for certain reasons. Everyone's trading, everyone's trying to find, you know, their lane in Web3, and you as a project, you have to give someone their lane. There's so much competition, there's so many options. So if you're able to create, you know, a product or a project that can, you know, serve multiple roles, can give, you know, these users, you know, every reason to stay and to, you know, be part of your community, I think is really important. And then another part is just the trust. I think there's a lot of, you know, horror stories in this industry, not only for us inside Web3, but from people outside of Web3, hearing of all these different things, rug pulls, you know, right? There's the trust is really important, and it's going to continue to be more and more important with like security and everything. And you got to be a strong project. You got to give trust to the community. You got to be very transparent with the community. So yeah, I think that's some of the best ways to obviously give lifetime value for your users is just transparency. You gotta, you know, give them the trust and always change, always, you know, keep things exciting, you know, keep building, you know, whether it's the bear or the bull, you always have to keep building and progressing and growing as a project.
Nice. Thank you so much, Taylor, for letting us know about that. Yes, well, I also remember the first time I used Daedalus, right? And also, wow, in the last cycle, I also got some airdrops as well. It's really exciting. And that's also one of the ways, right, to bring users back to the platform continuously. And I would also like to hear other speakers' views, how to retain your users through different market cycles. Thank you.
I think I can jump in here, and just to add to the trust and transparency, as Trailer said, I think the third pillar important for a platform like ours is alignment. I think we've excelled with this in so many ways, but distributing most of the revenue that we generate to our users, who then continue to support the platform and stick around, creates that alignment that our success is their success. That's the core principle of the BE33 or MetaDex model, as you like to call it. And yeah, that's it. It's just aligning all of the different actors that have interest in your platform, and that creates the success.
And I really wanted to hear Lena's secret sauce, because even post TGE, you guys still have a lot of community members supporting the space sessions. This is really amazing. How about Zeus? Would you like to share any opinions regarding how to retain users to AI Liquid?
100%. Yeah, great question. Great question. So I think we're not going to head into a bear market in a few months, but in terms of TGE, for example, it's easy to hit that, right? After a few months. I still believe in on the first point, I still believe that August is a traditional Lao, because a lot of kind of the developed world is having summers, and then we're off. Institutional liquidity is lower, and then when you're back, traditionally, right, in the fall, September, October, that's when it picks up, and there's a peak like in November. Personal belief, not investment kind of advice. But back to kind of tackling your main question, right? What do you do for user lifetime value? How can the platform retain kind of core users, right, through bull and bear market? So I think in a bull market, right, trading rewards and 1000x leverage, for example, or the leverage kind of appetite that you choose are really exciting, especially if there's a super clear direction going all the way up, hopefully, provided that you have enough collateral, right? It can really maximize your gains. It's all the superstar stories that a lot of people have entered crypto for, or at least on the retail user kind of perspective. And on to the point on trading rewards, right? Why it's important in the long term. So in terms of centralized exchanges, I think a lot of the angle is, okay, who are the kind of biggest community leaders, KOLs, of course, that can bring the most traders under their wing, right? And they have super aggressive kind of trading rewards or affiliate programs for the KOLs as well, sometimes up to 60%. And very often the KOLs can choose how much they want to split it with on the different levels of the downline. Very sophisticated system that's worked really well. But when people come into DEXs, especially in the long term, apart from culture that we're excited about, that I've been propagating just now, I think long-term user value is very important, and people are price sensitive, right? So it's very important to give a lot of this trading rewards back. So at AI Liquid, we try to balance it, right? Giving the KOLs enough and giving the users enough, probably just sacrificing ourselves, right? But it's all in the spirit of giving back, all in the spirit of building community. Let's go on to kind of like the bear market scenario, right? How can we provide value to the users? I think yields are very important. I know I probably sound like a broken record. It's all like kind of trading as well as volume yields, but there's a lot of DeFi. But yields are very important. So let's think BTC, right? Not to say that I'm a BTC maxi, but as a heuristic, it's easier to understand for the audience. So BTC now is super tied with global equity market. In general, they are kind of tracking the same direction, right? Or the same up and downs. You have tariffs, everything goes down, and then like, damn, what do I do? But that's where yields come in, right? From the kind of exchange perspective, it's like, oh no, a lot of liquidity is gone. Let's actually sacrifice or pay out of pocket, increase yields a little to get users in. But from the user perspective, that's good, isn't it? If I'm still kind of sensitive to this, if I believe the exchange is here to stay, I believe in the yields, I believe I can get them. And very often it's locked in smart contracts and you do get them, right? That's the expectation. And that's a good expectation. That should be the way. So in a bear market, you provide yields that are extraordinary. interest-free loans as well, just in case people want to continue trading or even trade, in the opposite direction, right? I think this would be a fairly comprehensive kind of value proposition in a bull and bear market.
Got it. Thank you so much, Zeus. Well, I have to say that you're definitely an expert over here, right, in terms of how to build a project. And next, let's hear from KY. Well, how does the project, the platform, right, Qubit, retain your users? Thank you.
Yes. So besides Perpetual, our platform, also want to provide the products with the different price correlation, so we can, prepare the asset class for our user. For example, our users' portfolio, they can have some asset with, different price correlations. So right now we are investigating some other asset class like real world asset. We feel that RWA will boom in the next few years, since a lot of countries are legislating corresponding act to buy the value of the real world asset to token legally. For example, yesterday, one of the board of the listed company, they start up a exchange, centralized exchange in Malaysia, and they want to do this, and they want to have cooperation with our platform in the future. So yes, I would say if we can provide different asset class to our user, then we can retain our core user even through the bull and bear market cycle. So if we are doing this, we can significantly increase the brand value of our decentralized exchange, not just for the high risk appetite user. And another things we are doing right now is that we are trying to create a multi-agent and multimodal AI agents for our user to do some analysis. For example, for our user in the futures, they can upload a chart, so we can use, for example, some chart specific AI agent to do the chart analysis for him, and he can also post a sentence in the tweeters, so we can use some AI agents focus on the sentiment analysis for him, and to integrate the summary of different AI agents for our users. Yeah, so we are doing this right now as well. Yeah, so I think that would be several ways for our own platform. We try to retain our core user, with different ways even no matter bull or bear market.
Nice. That's definitely a lot of great works behind the scenes. And I have to encourage of our audience to give of our speakers and their project the official handles a follow, because those are true builders in the Web3 space. And before we wrap up the session, we also have about 10 minutes, right? Well, let's go to our very last question over here. Over the next 3 years, or maybe over the rest of the cycle, right? Where do you think the core competitiveness of trading platform will be? For example, is it in AI, cross-chain capabilities, native collateral, or interest fee lending, or anything that we might see, right, between different trading platforms? What are the core competitiveness? Thank you. Who would like to share your views or your prediction first with us? KY, let's go.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Apollo. Yeah, so I think I can share a little bit about my view. So talking about the core competitiveness of the trading platform, actually we can reduce this question to maybe to how to increase the brand value of the trading platform, and how to create the flywheel, to create the real flywheel, how to create the network effect of the trading value. So as far as my own observation, I feel right now all the trading platforms have very few flywheel and the very few network effect right now. So just like in the competition in the field of AI, Google just released its AI products relatively late, right? But because of the previous network effect, they don't need to worry about how to, retain the new customer. They don't have to worry about no one using their AI product. So I think for the trading platform, we have to do the same thing as well. We have to think about how to create the real flywheel and to create the network effect. That's why in the previous question, I'm talking about a lot of things we are making efforts, which is not about the perpetual, which is not about the high risk appetite users product. So yeah. So and another thing would be I think AI will be the tool to create the flywheel as well. And for example, the things I mentioned about real world asset will be another things another possibility to create a flywheel and to create a network effect as well. So yeah, so that's my point of view and the things we are trying to do.
Got it. Thank you so much, KY, for letting us know how Qubit, right, is working on and throughout the following few years. Let's go over to Apollo as well. Sorry, I know you also would like to share with us. Thank you.
No worries at all. Yeah, of course, incentives can drive some demand, but beyond incentives, like what does a trading platform need? I think it boils down to a few different points. Of course, you need a comprehensive selection of assets. The platform that offers the most often tends to do better. But you also, on top of that, you of course need other tools that traders are looking for. You need analytics, you need discovery tools to spot the assets you may want to trade. And on top of that, it would be nice to even have opportunities to earn with your assets that you're holding in your wallet, not just let them sit idle. And of course, AI. AI is a big thing that's coming to almost every single platform now, including ours, to not only help you to trade, but to do all that I just mentioned. And the truth is, crypto is still it's super complex. And most users aren't either knowledgeable, discerning, or skilled enough to be able to do much without the help of AI. So I think that's going to be the main driver for leading platforms going forward. I love to use my mom as an example. She managed to buy a link on a centralized exchange, but try to make her do that on a decentralized exchange, and you've already lost her, because you have to educate her about wallets and what is on chain, even what does it even mean. So if you're looking at the big picture, like going forward multiple years when we have proper mass adoption, I think AI is the key to unlock all of that.
Nice. And Paul, I have to say, I totally agree with you, right? We certainly want to create a platform that would let our users of all ages, of course, over 18 years old, right, to be able to use them easily and feels like super smooth, right? Next, we would like to check, Zeus, would you like to share your views as well? Over the next 3 years, where do you think will be the most competitiveness of trading platforms? Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. I'll share from I'll give a twofold answer, one from the perspective of the company and one from the perspective of a 3-year industry outlook, right? So from AI Liquid's perspective, AI risk control at the core of our exchange. So we're always thinking about how we can use AI, right? So that's AI Liquid. And I think that stands out because very often it's more intent-based trading, which was a previous narrative for other exchanges in the past, right? More user-centric. But I think at the exchange foundational security level, it's very important to use that effectively. And another thing that stands out competitively from, say, other DEXs or different from Hyperliquid, as we've discussed today, is multi-chain staking and cross-chain collateral, right? The idea behind it is that, yeah, sometimes if you really want to go up to 500 to 1000x, you need a lot of collateral, a lot of liquidity is fragmented. You're thinking about how to bridge swap and lose part of it, right? Before it all coming together. So for us, if you so want to, if you choose to, you can have cross-chain collateral. So that answers part of the collateral question. And also interest-free loans that I've mentioned is something that stands out for AI Liquid and cross-chain derivatives as well. So again, going from an angle of, okay, I want more money in order to trade. I want more assets pulled together to support that one or two big trades that I'm placing. We do that for you. And back to kind of the second part of my answer, right? The 3-year outlook. Beyond this, right? Beyond what we have, I think institutional liquidity and relationships are very, very core and key. I cannot emphasize. Right? So, for example, if we take traditional markets, crypto is going to that direction, right? 70 to 90% of liquidity, daily trading volume is institutional players, right? We know that Wall Street and more than Wall Street as well. So what this means is that we kind of have to look beyond retail users, right? A lot of crypto is, again, a bit of an echo chamber, right? We think we are part of a community. We think we know how the community looks like, but the larger community is just outside your door, and they are here to stay, and they will only increase, and that's where the true volumes come in. And as a DEX, TBL is very important. So how do you actually kind of address that, right? Knowing that is to come. So I think it's important to have convergence back to our topic today, right? Between CEXs and DEXs. Previously, DEXs are more anonymous. You can't see anyone, right? But look, even Jeff from Hyperliquid has to come out. You can't just hide, right? Fellow Singaporean, kind of big love and big heart for him. But what I want to say is that in order for institutions to come in, they're not going to trust just like a faceless entity, right? People who hide behind like a handle or you can't really have a handshake with. And in fact, you have to be present at the largest financial centers in the world, right? To the extent that a compliance team can navigate compliance over there. We're talking about like home countries, Singapore or Hong Kong, where I'm sitting at right now, of course, New York, where of course, you're sitting at London, right? That's where all the institutions are. You have to be able to meet them, attract them. You have to be able to explain your offerings, not just to an AMA retail audience at a simple level, but also at a deep strategic institutional level on how specifically a derivatives product, if you're a derivatives DEX, can address some of the traditional kind of strategies in terms of institutions. And we can see that it's here to stay. If you turn on CNBC, wherever you are in the world, or Bloomberg, they always have regular crypto news. We are already watching it, especially in the US, right? So I think it's here to stay. So let me maybe recap. So on top of the advantages that that we have at AI Liquid that I've kind of repeated a few times. Hopefully some of you do kind of digest it. It's also very important to look at institutional liquidity and how, as a DEX, and market is huge, right? So this is just advice for other DEXs and CEXs out there. Are you going to capture it? Are you just going to get like a Web3 degen? Or perhaps you should get a CFA who really understands how to talk to institutions.
Got it. Thank you so much, Zeus, for letting us know about that. And Taylor, what's your views on this topic as well? Especially, Davos has also been building your platform for 2 cycles, right? Where do you see the core competitiveness of trading platform will be? Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, I'm gonna swing it back around to AI. I think, it's just like the elephant in the room, and not to touch back on the question, like if to look at the next 3 years, you almost have to look at like the previous 3 years, right? And outside, not specifically in Web3, but outside of Web3, you can look at 3 years ago to now, how many of these, big companies, Fortune 500 companies, are now relying on AI for so much of what they do, or relying, on AI for functions that the users want and need, right? So I think it almost hit a little bit earlier than Web3, and I think the start of last year, even a little bit before, all these Web3 projects, they're starting to figure out how to specifically incorporate AI, just because it is that going to be that main thing moving forward. People are very familiar with it. It's something that they can relate to, just because services like chat gpt, right? If I'm a university student, I have no relation to Web3, but I know that I can go on, I can hop on, and AI copilot, and I can just type out what I want, and it's going to like fulfill my need, right? And that's kind of how a lot of these Web3 projects are going to be moving forward, specifically with like DAppOS's new advancement, or version 3. It's kind of similar thing. If I want, as a user, I have my intention, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the interface, I'm going to ask, I'm going to have some sort of command, whether it's research, I want to learn more about the markets, I want to, carry out a trade, I'm going to type that in, give a prompt, and then I'm going to rely on the project. I'm going to rely on these AI agents to complete everything for me. And I think we've kind of just moved to this point where if you're not let's per se incorporating AI, you're going to get left behind. So I think the next 3 years, that's obviously like the main thing, like I mentioned, like the elephant in the room. But there's a lot of things, right? With all the competition, with everyone being able to access this AI to, build into their projects, there's going to be a lot more areas where you can stand out as a project, whether it's like human connection, obviously because AI is very much internet robot based, but human connection, the community, like building a community, I think over the next 3 years is going to be even stronger than ever because there's going to be so many things that are automated. That human connection, the community connection is going to be really important. So I think that's just my final 2 cents for this.
Got it. Thank you so much, Taylor. Or maybe after 3 years, right? Over the 3 years, we're going to see that people using AI agents to help them to trade across different platforms. That's also really possible, right? And it's very interesting to see as well. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today's space event, talking about, is CEX or DEX convergence the future of trading, right? I've heard the views from all of our speakers, including Zeus, the head of global strategy from AI Liquid, Taylor, head of community at AWS, Paul, co-founder Simo at Vena, and KY, founder of QB DEX. Thank you so much all for joining us. Before we wrap up the session, I would like to check Zeus. I saw you unmute. Would you like to share anything with our audience? Thank you.
Yeah, just wanted to extend gratitude to the audience for listening to us for more than an hour. Wanted to thank all the co-panelists as well for coming to this session that's sponsored by AI Liquid and Moonlight. You're always our favorite host. Thank you very much for the beautiful session.
That's amazing. Thank you all. And once again, everyone, be sure to give all of our speakers and their project a follow. Thank you. Let's go. We would like to once again invite all of our audience, right, to join the speakers communities and learn more about it. Use their project, use the platforms, and really try to understand how each of project operates other than joining AMA session and listen to them to share, right? Thank you so much. And we would like to see you all again next time. Bye. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thanks, Moonlight. Bye bye.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you.